Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Talking Wednesday podcast, episode 8. I hope this podcast finds you well, as always. I am Dexterity Box, joined by Jake PunkChef41. Go follow his YouTube if you've not already. I'm going to stop saying that now, but we just want to make sure the trickle-down's happening. The trickle-down has happened, and people have been going through the podcast views and going to your channel and subscribing.
Which is fantastic, which I appreciate.
Exactly. So... it's been a rough week for Wednesday. Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Have we got some new reviews?
We do have some new reviews, and if you give me 2 seconds, I will actually get the reviews up. But how has your week been, Jake?
Up and down, interesting. If you're going on a Wednesday point of view, 1 minute I'm there.
Just in general. Let's go for your general life first before we go to that.
In general, a little bit stressful, but it is what it is. We're getting close to spring and nice weather, so hopefully I'll be able to sit in my garden.
Indeed. Hopefully we can get there. Yeah, we've now had we've got 17 reviews on the the old Apple podcasts, and I've seen some new ones come in that we haven't read out yet. So
before we start that, how's your week been? You always forget yourself.
Well, I'm not important. The week has been interesting. I've had a lot of variables hit at me this week, and we've managed to keep it up. But I've done a lot of planning for the channel and things like that. I've been pretty much channel focused and that this week. But in terms of like personal life, it currently feels like all of a big sort of we're waiting for something to happen that's not happening. Do you know what I mean? So
you could say awakening.
Yeah, well, I guess we could do that. Did we read this one? I don't know if we did. Dom Webster 86, you're getting it read twice in case we did, but I don't think we did. I think this is the first one we didn't read. Says, can't recommend this podcast highly enough for any Wednesday fan who wants to listen and get involved with all the topics revolving around the club, which is usually a lot. Always rounded opinions and great research on current matters, and willing to give all fans a platform to voice their opinions/questions. Great to see it being positively received so far amongst fans, and makes the future bright for this channel. Keep up the good work. What a review.
Thank you very much.
Love the lengthy review there as I go out of focus. So I might, if my camera goes out of focus for video viewers, I apologise. We're gonna roll with it today. And the next one is from Todd Edgar. Quality podcast, nothing else to say, really, apart from keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Todd. And the last one is from Tom Hesketh. You don't find podcasts like this. Hearing people talk about points about a football club should sound boring, but it isn't because the two hosts are so relatable and funny. Not sure about that, Tom, but thank you.
Thank you.
The hosts do a really good job, and the hour flies by when I listen to this. Keep it up, guys. As always, please leave us nice reviews. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for everybody who's left a nice review so far. Go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. We would appreciate it. We're also on Podchaser, so go and leave us reviews there, and we'll read some of the Podchaser ones out next week as well. So we're going to jump into the Wednesday part of the podcast now. It is a Wednesday podcast after all. I mean, do we have to? Can we just talk about what we've been eating all this week, or I don't know what our plans are?
I made a calzone, which was nice.
You made calzone culture.
Yeah.
You got to put the right pronunciation on it. Then again, Jake,
you are talking
it.
to me. It is me you're talking about. I don't do pronunciation. I got some pelted in my chat this week for saying you regard team really badly. So you tried seeing me say some of our players' names?
No, exactly. But you're getting better, and we appreciate that. So let's just go into the recent matches and get it out of the way. Right. So Rotherham. Can I just say I predicted a winless week again?
You did.
I was bang on the money. I mean, I'm not going to start putting any bets on because it's not like I'm.
The moment you start putting bets on, we'll win. So I want you to put money on it, but I don't want you to lose money.
Nah, you're all right. You're all right. We won't go down that road. Do you know what? I've never put a football bet on, believe it or not.
Have you not?
Never. It's probably quite boring for a lot of football fans, but I knew that I'd probably get into it and spend too much money on it, so I didn't go down that route.
If it's anything like your pop vinyl collection and your Pokemon collection, probably a good idea.
I've got this one. This one is the Iron Man with Tony Stark. I don't know why we're going off on this tangent, but yeah. It's the I Am Iron Man one, which is very good. I got this one, which is another I'll stop this in a minute, I promise. Back to the Future one with Marty checking his watch.
You know, Tiff, we don't really want to be too negative, but we know it's going to be.
Well, I know what's coming.
Yeah.
Right? What else did I get? I think I showed this one, The Last of Us clicker. That one, decent one. All right, we're going to have to just get into it now, aren't we?
Shall we talk about Rotherham?
Yeah. It wasn't a good match.
No.
We started to have some attacking intent. We started to bring on attacking players and see like we were actually going to try and go for it. But it didn't really curtail. And I'm doing it again.
Yeah, you are.
Go on, Jake.
So, the Rotherham game was one of those games where you had a funny feeling we weren't going to win it. And from the get-go, they were at us straight away. They looked better. They looked up for it. And the goal they scored, oh my God, learn to defend. Mark somebody. Just don't leave him open, for God's sake. And that's our problem. Our defence is a big problem. We got a very lucky goal by Penny. And the red card, I still don't know why he got sent off for. Do you? I still can't see what the red Matt Smith got on Borna was. It's that long, you can't even remember.
No, I've kind of like, I was watching it and I was like, in a bit, I don't know why you've been sent off, but like, I've actually put on Twitter at the time, I put, okay, well now if 10 of the other Rotherham players get red cards, we might get back into this.
Yeah. But their goal, I can see what Izzy Brown was doing, and fair play, he did come out and apologise, but Dan Moore also said he didn't need to, it's on the team as well. But how many times have we scored last-minute goals against Rotherham? So I think it's been due a while for them to get one. It just sucked how they got it. But fair play to them. They got a 1-0, 2-1 win, and we just played bad.
I want to praise Rotherham because fair play. And obviously their fan base wouldn't be saying the same. But I also need to say something because you've had all your positives and everything. Rotherham deserved the win. Yep. They're staying up Wednesday or going down. Fair play. But you don't need to make collectibles of a win in the Championship.
I sent you that. I forgot
against
about that.
Sheffield Wednesday, guys. It's literally up there with the Sheffield United Honours Board when you make a heat map of one of your players and try and sell it. I don't know who sent you. So I got a message from Jake last night going, I've just been sent this. And it was a genuine like collectible made immediately, pretty much in the day after the match, and gone up for sale of the heat map of one of their strikers during the winning goal. Match. Yeah. But it was the heat match of him over the 90 minute heat map of the match of him over 90 minutes, which is great for like a cup final or a bigger moment, but like you've beat a very bad Wednesday side, lads, and you well deserved, but come on, that's a little bit like Birmingham retiring Jude Bellingham's number. It's on that level, let's be honest. But fair play to Rotherham. I didn't expect us to get anything out of it. We didn't get anything out of it. They're very happy. They're probably staying up, and we're probably going to take their place in relegation this season.
In the show notes, I have put up about the XG, and we've had a lot more chances in the last two games, but we can't convert, and that's our issue. Well, one of many issues, actually, now thinking about it. But yeah, we just can't convert, and it's all good having these chances, but you can't put it in the back of the net. To be fair, the goal that we scored was very lucky and very fluky, an own goal, which we didn't look like scoring a goal anyway. And it was a game where we put Windass on the wing and he just doesn't work. He's not a winger.
No, and also Patterson, I've got to say, in that his first touch was a centre-back's first touch. It was horrific.
What are you about? Big P.
Big P's first touch was horrific during that match. But yeah, we did create a lot more chances against Rotherham and Luton. It did seem to like be we're trying to get on the front foot a little bit more, but you take the Reading match and then that completely... It's kills like it. We took Joe Cran's tweet, didn't we? And he said you can't have 15 shots in total and rely on an own goal to get back level. And he posted that little heat map of where all the shops were. Shots, even. But yeah, it was... And obviously a lot of people were having to go at Izzy Brown for that. I've got to say, right, okay, Izzy Brown has not been given a proper chance at Wednesday. His confidence isn't going to be there, and I'm not going to bail any player out right now, okay? Because I'm just frustrated with the whole thing. But what I will say is nobody else wanted to come and take that corner.
He was the only one with urgency, wasn't he? To go.
Yeah, at that moment, he was the only one with any urgency to actually get us the win, because it was level at that point. So I will cut him a bit of slack there.
And to be fair, when you actually watch it, he's trying to get whip on the ball to try and get whip, and it just didn't work. And he didn't have to come out and put a tweet out saying, I apologise, but fair play to him. Some players would have just took it off.
Yeah,
but
and obviously a lot of fans
media.
said, a lot of fans were like, oh yeah, you're going back to Chelsea, it's all cushy. And yeah, fair play, but he didn't have to say anything. And he didn't have to go and run for that corner. And I get it. I was angry as you at that. I was disappointed but not surprised at the equaliser. But
and to the people that say he's going back to Chelsea, he's probably not going to be at Chelsea next season.
He's probably going to get released.
I think he's going to either get released or someone's going to come and get him. You can see it being someone like Huddersfield where he's been already, get him like they did with Aaron's. And go there.
He's nailed on to go back to like Huddersfield or something, to be fair. That's a good shout, that is.
Let's talk about Saturday game.
Saturday with Reading. Let's throw ourselves into that one, and we will do it in the tradition. Go for it, Jake.
We started okay, and we looked like we could do something, but we were very defensive. But then that boring penalty, defending, whatever it was, whatever you call it, just killed it, really. But we did look better when we got sent off.
Was it a penalty for you? No, sorry, not a penalty. Was it a red card for you? It was a penalty.
It wasn't a red card for me, but it was definitely a penalty. A yellow card would have been for 5. I don't think he was last man. The only way I can see giving it as a red card, it was a goal-scoring opportunity. But refereeing this season has been bad all over the shop, let's be fair.
There was a couple of instances, though, because before that red card, right, we had a goal ruled out for a foul from Leeds when he jumped up for a header. And for me, I've watched that back and I don't see the issue.
I can't see why that got disallowed at all. It was a perfectly good goal.
We've gone from, and I'm not saying ref's decision right, because I'm not thinking we are a team that is good enough to beat Reading, don't get me wrong. But to give us a fighting chance, you rule out one of our goals and then you give a red card for probably what should be, because for me, Puskás initially, if Borna is on him and he takes him down straight away, red card, right? First man. But by the time Puskás goes down and feels the contact, you can tell he's delayed his run waiting for the contact, and the actual support player has come to his right. So for me, and I won't go into it too much because the game's done and we're down pretty much anyway.
To be fair, on the goal that we didn't get, none of the players seemed to put up a fight about it. It was like, oh, okay, it is what it is then. We ain't got a goal. And just carried on. It was weird. But then we looked better with 10 men, to be fair, at the time. We did look better. And second half, we were starting shelter, but we keep doing this thing, playing it back to Joe Wildsmith. It's what Josh Lukai tried to do, and we're not that team. We're not a team that can play out from the back. We don't have that keeper. We don't have those defenders. And the defending for all Reading second goal was comical. You can see it a mile away that this isn't right. And the one thing he needs to do, if he gets that defence tightened up and can get other people going, I still don't think we've got a fighting chance. Mathematically, we still can be safe, technically, on the points, but it's getting even harder, I think. Oh
no, the Reddit thing, we need to scrape a point from this week, at least for me, to try and get on that path. And for me as well, it's a case of I've just had a conversation before we recorded this podcast, and it was just a case of I was asked, have you still got all those out of our contract players? Because it's obvious then for your results, they just don't care. And for me, I've got to say, I was streaming the match, and it was the time today I found myself, and you were obviously watching, you were there moderating, and it was a case of I was screaming, I'm not that dramatic, but I was raising my voice at players, get back into position. Where's the urgency?
All we needed to do was I reckon Dex should do his next one with a suit on and pretend to be manager. Have an actual suit on for a game. Well,
genuinely, we obviously can't listen to the commentary and stuff, and we can't hear the pitch noises when I'm streaming, but I can only imagine that Darren Moore was doing the same as me, going, why are you not pressing the man? You're ball watching. Literally, one player in the defence will go to a challenge and hoof it, right? And then while it's up in the air, they're not watching the players. No. They're all ball watching, and yes, you've got to watch and be aware of where the ball is, but if you've got a Reading player that's moving into position, you've got to you've got to capitalise on the defensive opportunity there and chase the man. Otherwise, they're going to slot in. And Reading's goals were horrific.
And they were easy as well. And the thing is, the one thing you want Darren Moore to shout and always what you were saying in the stream, keep your shape. And the shape went. And
and also it's a case of...
before I forget, we took Bannon off in the first half a penny.
Yeah. We're right. Okay, yeah. By the way, when I said Reading's goals were bad, I didn't mean they were bad goals. They were great goals, but they were training ground goals. It was
bad for us in defending.
Terrible defensively. So there is a segment of our fan base who wants to beat Banner with a stick of he's not captain material, he's part of the rot sort of thing. For me, right, take that aside. I disagree with you, but we'll take that aside, okay? We can all disagree with
we're adults.
Adults with opinions. Okay, so what you don't do when you're fighting to get back into a match, and I'm going to give Moore a benefit of the doubt, and we're going to talk about Moore. It's probably going to be our main topic in a minute. We're just talking about the current state of Wednesday and the recent matches.
And he'd done it twice. He did it against Rotherham as well.
Yeah, that's a different kettle because he brought on strikers there. But what he does on here is he brings a left back on.
Not a very good one, in my opinion.
We'll talk about that in a second as well. He brings a left back on for your only box-to-box midfielder and leaves on Liam Shaw, who's agreed to go to Celtic. So if you're talking about players with fight, you've taken off the player that's just signed a 2-year contract, who is your captain, who links up the play in the midfield and the attack. You have taken him off and brought on a left back and kept somebody who could... Right, you've dropped who was playing at left back.
You're taking your captain off.
But also you're moving Iragidi to a centre-back there.
Yeah.
Right? And you're not dropping Hutchinson. You're leaving Hutchinson and Shaw in the midfield when you can drop Hutchin at centre-back.
Yeah, very much so.
And I'm just like, I understand that he's seen things from players and things like that, and I'm not getting that. This isn't a Moore thing, right? But that, for me, says what the hell is going on in terms of the players that you bring off your captain. You bring off your player that would help us probably unlock something in that game.
And I will also say to people who are having... Because I've seen already people having a go at Moore, it's like, he's been in the job a week.
Yeah, I'm not doing that here.
We're not doing that. At the end of the day, he's obviously gone for a tactical decision. It didn't work. But on that, Matt Penny was last couple of games I've seen, he's been poor.
Yeah,
in defence.
Going forward, fine. He is not a left back.
No.
Right? He's not, unless he has got a strong defensive line with him, he is not a left back.
Was Reach on the bench? He won it. I would have brought Reach on, then Penny. But I would have kept Bannon on. But I don't know. It's a really weird one because he just signed a deal. I don't think there's been a disagreement between Moore and Bannon. I think he's just going to treat. But I also don't see the whole thing where it might be a chance to say he's our most sellable asset. I don't want him to get the... I think if we go down to League One, he's the kind of player that will still stay, even if an offer did come. But it's got to be good money for us to say, sorry, Barry, we got to take it. We're in League One. We need the cash. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I could see that side of it. I could see if it's a file sale situation, we're doing it of a case of like, right, let's play the players we want to give new contracts and sell our players that will actually get us money. Because let's be honest, some of these players will be able to go on frees, but they'd be more ideal for the younger ones for us to potentially keep them, and then we've got something to build on in League One. It's like I was saying on the stream, do you keep Rhodes and stuff to build for next season? And it's a question of you've got to find players for that level if they can take the salary reductions and things like that. But the Reading game was expected.
Yeah,
but
it was.
But it wasn't. I don't think the 2 goals were acceptable. Losing Westwood for me is possibly what relegated us. That's possibly been the final straw.
I saw in the press conference beforehand that he said he possibly could be back at some point.
Too late.
But I think
I might be a pessimist here, but I feel like it's too late.
It does feel that way.
I do not see the fight in this team for clawing it back from this situation.
I was speaking to a fellow friend of both mine and yours who pops into your chat now again, Dor. And Dor kind of said, look at our team we got to play and stuff. I was like, yeah, but it's nothing compared to what we got. You're safe. No. You and Derby are safe. You might be going on poor runs now, but it's like your players have gone, well, we're pretty much safe. We can go for it. Because Derby didn't play well today at all, apparently. Because speaking to a Derby fan who was just like, this is going to be trouble now. But my thing is, it's nothing compared to what Wednesday got to do? We've got to fight. We're always going to have a fight at the start of the season with -12 and -6. Even with the -6, you could have, once we got -6, you could have properly pushed on. But the amount of changes we've had this season has just been our downfall. There's been no consistency. There's been no consistency at the back.
There's something seriously wrong with the fact that it's honestly, I think it must come down to the players being out of contract because defensively, right? You just they're professional footballers. I'm pretty sure when I was coached as a small child, right? You were told to chase your man and not ball watch.
Yeah.
Right? Stay with your man and don't ball watch.
But the thing is, isn't that what you see in an academy system where you see them do it? And our last person who was in charge was an academy manager, let's be fair. So I wonder if, you know what I mean? If they still got some hang up. Because some of them are still ex-academy players. Penny, Urgidi, Shaw. But Shaw and Urgidi have been brilliant. Matt Penny, for me, just not been it. I understand him playing some of the youngsters and he's not like freezing reach out or anything like that. But I think he's trying to see what he got, what he might be able to build for next season.
Honestly, the thing is though, you've got to realise that this is a couple of matches. We will get onto Darren Moore in a second.
Yeah, we will.
It is a see what you've got. Let's see what we're working with, and we'll build from there.
The only nice thing about this
Matt Penny's a luxury player though. We'll talk about, I'll let you finish the second. Just finish this one. Matt Penny for me is a luxury attacking left back if you're going to play him in a defensively solid team. However, we have not got that. So go on, what were you saying?
He did actually look better when we had when we had Joss and he played as a winger. Let's be fair, he did look better.
He was awful, so.
Yeah, and the saving grace we got for this week is there's a full week Moore can have with it. There's no matches, there's no nothing. He can have a Sunday, full week in training with these players and try and put some things that he wants right.
That's also going to mean that we do a Wednesday podcast without fixtures next week.
That's going to be fun.
So it's going to be, if you're watching this part, please be on the community topics because we're going to have to talk about things because we're not playing till Sunday. So,
but shall we start with the week we had on Monday with Darren Moore getting appointed?
Yeah. So let's talk about the fact that I sort of I was having a bit of a lazy morning, and then I looked at my phone, and you'd messaged me, and Darren Moore is a new manager, and I was like, what?
I think we both had the whole thing. We're like, it's gonna be a quiet day, not need to do anything. And I had the same thing too.
I'd spent the whole Sunday before editing the last podcast. Literally, my entire Sunday. We had about 4 breakouts ready, and I was like, I don't have to do much at all, and you guys get loads of content. And
I literally got a message going, well, these can go in the bin now.
So you've probably seen our reaction videos. If you're not, feel free to go and check those out as we immediately reacted. But this is going to be our extended talk on Darren Moore, him coming in, our extended thoughts on it, the current state Wednesday you're in and what he can do. We're going to talk a bit about the press conferences, things like that. We're going to talk about all of that in one. So pretty big topic, this one.
Yeah.
So we don't need to read any statements out because we did all of that. But Darren Moore, we've taken him from Doncaster.
Donny fans are not happy.
No. They're a team fighting promotion. They have won today.
Yeah, they won Plymouth. They won.
So they won't. They'll probably stop moaning about it now. Fair. I understand though, it's a horrible situation when you get your manager poached. But
can I just say something?
It happens.
When was the last time Wednesday poached the manager? We never. No, exactly. I don't think we've ever done it. And to some of the Donny fans that went going, you nicked our manager. We as fans haven't done it. Our owner did. We're just going with you. We were all like as shocked as you. Like, we've hired someone.
Yeah, no, we had a few. And if you're watching this one, if you want to still hate on Darren Moore, honestly, we had it with Steve Bruce fair. But remember, we are talking about our football club. We do not make the decisions.
Yes.
Chill out. Okay. So he's also brought 2 coaches with him from the Sheffield Wednesday website. Following the appointment of Owls manager Darren Moore this morning, we can confirm the addition of 2 new members of backroom staff at Hillsborough. Moore brings in Jamie Smith as assistant manager and Paul Williams as first team coach. That's the big thing we also don't want to miss.
Yeah.
He's brought in an assistant manager and a first team coach, so he's basically got his staffing straight away. Monk wasn't allowed to do that for a while.
No. Well, my thing with this is I'm originally a Donny lad, so I got friends in Doncaster. who still speak to me and talk to me and stuff. And they all have said the one thing that they always had from Donny Rover players was how much Jamie Smith was crucial at helping and sorting stuff out behind the scenes. There was a big respect for him. And it's going to be interesting what these three can do. And like I said, he brought them in. He let them get on straight away. And let's also remember, we have paid money for Darren Moore. We paid compensation.
Yeah, 6 figures.
Yeah. We paid money to get him. It's just, why didn't you do this in January? Why did you wait? You do this in January.
6 figures ain't a lot in football. So
It is. Yeah. It is for a League One club when you can't have fans.
It depends which 6 figures. Depends what it starts with.
But when there's no fans in, 6 figures is huge.
No, yeah, I get that. I get that. Also, a lot of talk about his contract.
I think it's rolling.
I think it's an 18-month. I would get the vibe of like it's I wanted to talk about this a bit at the start when we were talking about recent form and that, but I will talk about it now. The way Darren Moore's come in these matches, and obviously it's not been great and stuff. He looks like he's assessing a squad, fully aware that even though he speaks well, he might get lucky and keep us up. But this looks like he's assessing what he's got for next season. And Chansiri has made it imperative now that we bounce back up and we do not become what we were when we went to League One before. Yeah. Where we have a rocky season and stuff, and it takes us a while to adjust.
We can't do a Sunderland. We got to go straight back up.
No, exactly. And
to do that, no disrespect to Sunderland, by the way.
I also think that's potentially why he's having a bit of he brought Barry Bannon off Saturday, because he decided to, we record this after the match anyway, usually, but he brought Barry Bannon off because you do get this manager, you take the most senior player, usually your captain, or you take the player that's been there and has got the most influence with the players. And if you want to take a dominant squad, you want to take a dominance over that squad where potentially previous managers haven't been respected by that squad, you go in and you make an example of the most senior sort of player. I know Liam Palmer's technically the most senior player, but not in terms of hierarchy. To
be fair with that, though, I hope Bannon took it the right way. And he just went, right, okay, I get it. Let me support the boys in the dressing room and build it up so we can get something, you know what I mean?
He didn't seem to be throwing his toys out the pram, in fairness to him. And some people will go, where's his passion? He shouldn't be happy going off. I don't think he was happy going off, but he realises that there's a red, and that was more of a case of, right, I'm keeping a level head on the captain.
It wasn't a case he'd had a bad start and then he pulled him off or something. It was more of a case, I think he knew it was a tactical decision. And
he did what?
It is what it is. What?
He did what?
What did I say?
Doesn't matter. So, I think it could be an 18-month contract with an opportunity to rebuild. You can watch this back.
I'm going to have fun when I watch this back to find out what I said.
Let's talk about the press conference, because obviously the press conferences are a big thing. We didn't have this when we reacted immediately. This is Darren Moore. He talks about coming together and being all together as fans and players were all one. I'm paraphrasing this here, but he says the chairman says he has his heart in the football club. He wants us to climb the table and have that structure and stability. I felt a desire in his heart for the club, and I wanted to be a part for it. So he basically says that he feels like Chansiri's got his heart in the right place. He's coming out and giving us that defense of Chansiri that obviously a lot of people are out for blood. Yeah. Whereas before, like, Pulis came in and went, I hope to have a good relationship with him and all of that.
Also, on that, with you saying Pulis, Pulis was a mentor to Moore at West Brom, wasn't he? So it'll be interesting to know what Pulis has said.
So was Megson, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, he speaks well in his press conference. We've had a lot of people that speak well. That means nothing to me anymore. Sorry, Darren, you are literally coming in the worst possible situation for you sort of getting the benefit of the doubt with fans. But he keeps talking about how he likes to build things, and he wouldn't say what the length of the deal is, obviously. But for me, the building job hints at the 18-month.
It's similar to what he had at Rovers. 2 years to try and get something. Ish.
Yeah, and they backed him. They did back him, obviously. Hopefully, he can be backed here. He does seem like a manager that works with little and can do a job. If you look at the West Brom side he took caretaker manager of, he's actually a playoffs manager. Yes, he went down to League One, and people are saying, why have you brought in a League One manager for League One? Yes, potentially, but we've brought in a manager that also got West Brom to the playoffs.
They got fourth, and then they sacked him as well, which was weird.
Yeah. exactly. And yes, you might say he's underperforming with that squad sort of thing, but so did every other West Brom manager for a little while.
Yeah.
And they kept, you've put here that you like that he talks about being an army and in a team, and he's delighted to be here. You said you love that.
Yeah, I like
that talk.
I do like that kind of talk. It just shows that he understands it, and I think sometimes when we have managers, they don't understand it. You feel like they're there just for the pay grade, and some people have said they feel like this could be him here for the pay grade. I don't get that feeling. I get the feeling he sees something and he wants to try and get it going, if you know what I mean.
And it seems like he understands also he might not be able to get his style of play in there straight away, and he understands that it's going to... All of this feels like he's going to have to gut out this team, okay? And I think if anything this week has shown, he has played sides to try and get us back into it, but he's also... This is basically his pre-season before pre-season. He's trying to...
Don't we have an international break coming up soon? We do, don't we? So it might be interesting to see what he does after that.
I don't know if we do. I don't know if we're doing one before the Euro. I know there is meant to be one at some point, but I've been looking at the calendar and usually it might be in April, we'll see. But yeah, he talks about not knowing that he's not going to get potentially his preferred style and things like that. So I'm glad to see that he's working with what he's got. I do feel like more after this week, it is more of a case of going to be, sorry Wednesday, but like pulling us back up from League One. It does feel like it's going that route.
You didn't notice your pun there, did you?
Yeah, I can't even say more at all now. Can I? We've probably punned out this title of this podcast as well, so you're welcome. Then again, all of these podcast titles are usually puns.
Yeah.
So it's one of my joys of a Saturday night coming up with the title. So yeah, he says ideally we'd play free-flowing football, but every manager says that.
Hard to do with these players.
Oh, I'd love to actually play football. That's not how Pulis sounds, but it's like I'd actually love to play
Polish
football.
is Welsh.
Yeah, he is. I don't know why I was going. I was going full York. It's because whenever I mock a Wednesday manager, I usually go Yorkshire. But I was going into my Thompson, I think. There.
To be fair, your best impression when you did Bruce.
Yeah, I won't do it now because it'll be underwhelming. But yeah, my Steve Bruce is definitely very flamboyant. So yeah, he talks about Rhodes, which is interesting because it links back to what I was saying earlier about people were saying, oh, Rhodes couldn't hit a barn door, that sort of thing. Yeah, in the Championship, where it's probably the I'll be honest, the game has probably passed Jordan Rhodes by, and players like Jordan Rhodes, the actual game of football in the Championship and definitely the Prem, they're not there for Jordan Rhodes anymore. However, League One is still what you remember it is, right? It is still football, as in nasty. And you get. To be fair,
our hoofball will work really well in League One.
Yeah, no,
with
definitely.
With some pace up front.
I've been checking out League One a little bit more just to see if that's the case or it is a bit more. Some teams do try and play more attacking football or more expansive. And if you look at the United side that went up, they played a different style. They played, but it's a case of you see a lot more back threes in League One than you used to. Like if you did anything that wasn't 4-4-2 in League One a few years ago, you get your head kicked in. But now it's.
You just mentioned League One, and there's just something that come to my head. And hang on, I need to check table, mate.
That's fine. I'll talk about what we were going to talk about here anyway with Rhodes. So Moore talks about bringing a platform for Rhodes, and actually he says that he's one of the players we're looking at moving forward. So I think he's going to want to keep Rhodes for League One, because last time Rhodes was in League One, he ripped it apart. Yeah, so hopefully he can do that again.
Right, I found what I was looking for. So Donny are in 5th place on 55 points. Atkinson, Stanley and Ipswich are on 50. What the hell happens if Donny Rovers or Ipswich go up, especially since we nicked Darren Moore and we were looking at Paul Cook?
Yeah, well, it would be very Sheffield Wednesday, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would
be. But I'm optimistic for Darren Moore if he gets a rebuild job. I get angry when Wednesday lose. Like I'm a bit more numb, to be honest, recently. But like, obviously, as a fan, you get the passion, you get the anger in there, and you're like, this shouldn't be happening to this club. And we're the fans, we're the ones that have to pay for it every time. It's not the players. They get to go back to their mansions and their supermodels and their whatever. Do you know what I mean? And I
think you've been kind of Premiership, Championship, maybe not so much.
Right, no, hang on. Are you telling me, if we're talking about like supermodels and mansions, right, are you telling me you could not get, like, well, obviously it depends if you've got the personality of a wet flannel, but are you telling me if you're like on 25 grand a week, you can't live that baller lifestyle?
Oh, I'm not saying I can't, I'm just turning around and saying, I don't think we got that in our squad. We had it.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the caps come in a little bit more, but I definitely think if you've definitely got wealth there. What I'm saying is you don't have the connect that the fans have to it, and you don't have the fact that sometimes
there is a huge dick. You know what I think was a huge myth for Wednesday in terms of connection? I think the Owls in the Park was always good at getting together players. Probably not the best idea now because we got some not nice people, and it's been said before that I remember one season Reece McKay getting pelters, and he had to put something on Twitter, and he actually had to be taken away by a Sheffield Wednesday steward because he was getting some pelters. But I think that connection we have when we do Owls in Talk helps have that community aspect, and I have a funny feeling a Darren Moore style manager will like that.
Yeah. I don't think the next Owls in the Park's going to be pretty, though, when it all comes back together.
Oh, yeah. Did you see Karloff was back in Sheffield this week?
No.
Karloff was back in Sheffield this week. I don't know why, but somebody got a selfie with him in Sheffield City Hall.
Fair. No, because the Darren Moore's in, but I was like, is there hope? Watch it. No, he'll be going to replace Chris Wilder at United. That made me feel sick.
Yeah,
can you imagine? But yeah, Darren Moore, optimistic, decent. Hopefully a rebuild job. Hopefully we'll do it. That's just basically our extended thoughts on him there. However, we want to talk about a bit more from the press conferences and Chansiri. Basically, he did a press conference.
Fair play to him.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting him to be on it.
No, well, it's funny because we said on the podcast we want to hear from you on Monday, and he came out and delivered and gave us a press conference on Monday with a new manager. Or was it Tuesday?
Monday.
Yeah.
We keep predicting this.
I know. If you want us to run the club, please start bankrolling us. Because I'm just saying, like, you could at least sponsor the podcast. You can do it under another name. Just set these players for life, set us for life. And we'll tell you how to run the club. But anyway, he was talking about how Neil Thompson did quite well. He believes all the fans and the media say I should make him permanent. I did not, can I just say? So I'm not a fan or the media. So that's accurate, clearly. But I think we're not the media, but we are the fans. I think now is the right time to change. I agreed. We were on that downturn.
I agree. You could have done it a week or two earlier, ideally, but yes.
When we look at the contract, it says normally for all the coaches I have expected them to stay with us long term. So it's probably a case of like he's learned from his mistakes, and this is a long term rebuild job.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
It's gotta be. He says that we've still got a lot of points to keep us up to play for. I don't agree with that. I don't believe you. Talks about cash flow being an issue with the state of the world at the moment. So, yeah, obviously we're going to have to come up against that as well as a relegation, probably. If we don't get relegated, by the way, we're going to have a massive party on this podcast.
Oh, God,
yeah. Socially distanced, of course. We're in different houses. But I don't think it's going to happen. He also says
we'll either have a party or we'll be drowning our sorrows. It'll be one or the other.
What's going on with the accounts? Because he says the accounts haven't gone in. I remember, right, you got pelters.
I did.
For saying this. And I was like, well, all right, chill out. It's just reporting on what we've heard. But apparently the accounts haven't gone in properly, sort of thing. And that's obviously a worrying thing because every other club seems to have been getting it. But we might find out, it might come out in the wash that the accounts have been delayed for quite a few clubs because of the current world situation.
The thing is, this is accounts that were meant to be in last year.
Yeah.
That we haven't posted yet. And
he says, we're going to submit very soon. It's out of my hands. If nothing is wrong, maybe we can submit this week or next week. So basically he's going, maybe
I'm sick of talking about it. I need to get it sorted.
Yeah, and also a case of like I've got to find a way to hide the fact that I've also been.
I think I
buying
read
ice cream shops and using them as revenue sources.
I think I read somewhere that I don't think the club
allegedly that's a joke.
I don't think the club has to publicly put them out. I think they're allowed to keep them private, but I'm pretty sure I can't remember where I read that. It could be something I've read somewhere else. So I'll put my hands up if it's wrong, but I think they don't have to technically release them. But the whole thing with the accounts, it's just becoming one joke after the other. And it just concerns you that things that other clubs seem to get in right away, we tend to take a while.
Definitely. We'll see how that one develops. Apparently also just before we move on from Darren Moore and that whole press conference situation.
I forgot to put this in.
Yeah, there's reports that rumours and that we were interested in Clarence Seedorf. So that didn't happen, but apparently we were at the same time we were looking at Paul Cook, Clarence Seedorf could have happened. I mean, actually, if he'd brought his boots, that might be all right. Because did you watch him a couple of years ago in a soccer aid?
Yes, I did. He still got it.
And like he could still run a team, and I was get him up front.
I believe his lad's playing up in Scotland.
Fair.
I think he's at Hamilton or something like that.
All these teams playing for a musical. It's an odd one. I keep doing that joke. I need to stop doing that joke. So, moving on to it's happening again, ladies and gentlemen.
Deja vu.
It's almost as if we said this might happen and it's potentially going to happen, and you're all going to say in the comments it won't happen, and then when it happens we'll be like, we told you it was going to happen.
And by the way, for everyone who was acting on the stream, we did say we will cover this, and we are going to cover it, and more have come out since yesterday about club looking at him, and it's getting annoying.
Wonderful. So DC's press conference says, we've already talked about the players for a long time. We are waiting for them to come back. These are basically what he said there is, even though that wasn't a very good quote, he said, we sent contracts agents to certain players, we're with agents, we're talking to them. Urigidi.
That said to me, we're seeing where we are at the end of the season and if we sign or not.
The one player we've been saying, can we sign? And just sort it out, please. It's Urigidi, a player who was actually decent today, again.
Yeah, he was.
And it's frustrated me against Reading, dating this podcast, obviously. Dom House and Yorkshire Live reports this, which we see, and obviously it sends the fan base into meltdown, the ones that see. Yorkshire Live understands a number of clubs in the top two divisions of English football and from abroad are closely monitoring the defender's situation in relation to Urigidi. Yep. Premier League sides Leeds United and Crystal Palace and the Championship promotion hopefuls Watford are reportedly keeping close tabs on Urigidi, whose contract expires this summer. Belgium club Bruges are also said to have inquired about the player.
I want him to go to Belgium because then I don't have to have that thing of it coming back.
I want him to stay here. I'm sick of this.
No, if he goes, I want him to go to Belgium so I can just go have fun. Then I don't get it rubbed in my face.
Yep. Also, interesting, following on from that quote, he says, Wednesday are keen to retain Irigidi's services. He has been offered a new deal, but no agreement has been reached. And I just put under this, it's happening again, because we said this about Shaw. We said the links were there. I don't think Irigidi's going to sign in this current situation. I think it's just getting worse. The
only way he signs in this situation is that he's loyal because we took him when he didn't have a club. We brought him through the ranks and stuff. But as they say, there's not much loyalty these days in football, but you never know. A kid could. It also depends. You could also have it that whoever he takes his advice from, his mum and dad or whatever, because young players tend to do, they might turn around and say, you'll get played here. You might go to Watford United Palace, but you might not get played. It could be a case we give him a year contract and say, if an offer comes in January and it's big, we can let you go.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't see it,
but the thing is, like, you've got to look from a footballer's perspective here, and it's annoying saying this because we've been saying it all along. Handle your youth better, especially Urigidi, because he showed signs back then. We needed to offer him we needed to offer triggered clauses for extra years and things like that.
The thing is, we don't put contracts in front of players until they're about to run out, and we've been doing this for years, where we don't retain players early enough when we see there's a decent thing.
That's why we're. Can I just say, side topic, that's why we're getting relegated.
Oh, yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Because we had the 19 players, it's gone down to 18 players that have not signed contracts. And obviously we know Shaw's off. So many of those are just like, it doesn't matter. I'm going. In their head, they're going and they're down in tools for it.
It's like
with players like Urhoghide, he's actually playing out of his skin. Probably, though, there's probably a bit of that he knows that there's interest in him, right?
Yeah.
And he knows the thing for a footballer is, in his position, yes, he
holds all the cards.
He also doesn't have to sign a deal if we say we're going to let him go in January, where if a big deal comes in, he goes, well, I could just go in summer, and actually I can make it easier for a Premier League club to pick me up and put me on their books.
But the thing is,
Premier League clubs have got more options.
But again, do you see a Leeds United Crystal Palace playing in first team?
No, they don't. But also, you've got to realise that one of those clubs could set him for a good amount of time and loan him back.
This is the same thing I have with Shaw.
Loan him somewhere else.
This is the same thing I have with Shaw. If a big club comes into you, you're going to be able to set yourself up for a little while and make. And this is the capitalist thing, but make as much money as you can while you're young, because once you retire, you're going to have to live off that.
Yeah, I know, but also my caveat there is footballers earn so much money compared to the common man now.
Urhoghide's not on much at the minute.
No, he isn't. Yeah, well, we don't. Well, I don't know, but you can tell us more if you want. But if you think about general football careers, even low-level football are still paid handsomely if you compare it to most professions. So for me, it's a case of if you manage your money right and you could literally be sort of a lower-level footballer, but if you manage your money right, you could be still well off and sort of big house, nice cars.
The biggest thing with footballers, and I've read a lot of books on it from players and stuff, their biggest thing is not knowing what to do with their time when they've got downtime. A lot of them gamble, a lot of them play poker, a lot of them lose that money, or they have people with bad advice, or they invest in cars, or kind of thing.
We're not talking about any of our players here, by the way. We're not talking. This is obviously an Urhoghide topic, and we want to keep him. But yes, it's a case of that's a good discussion for the money side of football. But with Urhoghide, it's a case of he obviously had that big viral video where he spoke really well and he was really grateful. He hasn't got the manager that brought him through anymore, right? And gave him that time. He's not here. Who was notorious for working well with youth players. He's got a manager that comes in that didn't play him on his first start.
Moore is regarded working.
Didn't start him though.
No,
on his first game. So it's interesting. He did come back in the side against Reading and he played really well, to be honest. He's got such a confidence in his game now. The worrying thing for me there is he's up in his game to a point where he's showing off. He's showing what he can do.
He was doing a lot of step over on Saturday.
Yeah, a lot of step overs, yeah.
And one thing I didn't realise with Urhoghide, he got a good cross on him, hasn't he?
The one thing for me, right, is the reason is with Shaw, I said take it or leave it. Yes, he's got potential. With Urhoghide, though, he's possibly one of our best fullbacks, if not our best fullback. That's my issue, right? I didn't really care about the Shaw situation. This one, I will put it on the table. I do not want him to go. I want him to sign a new deal, because building a team around players like that can fit into that side, he would help us be part of that bounce back up. Think about players like Green and Urhoghide. You want to start building that side.
Yeah. Now, I just said that. I completely forgot Green in League One would be killer. Even though I don't want to.
Have Urhoghide behind him, because he can overlap with him. But the difference with Urhoghide, and we were talking about Penny a little bit earlier, is Urhoghide comes back and does the defensive work, and he is really good at it.
Very good.
Okay? And so what I am basically saying is, if you are from a Premier League club, he's absolutely awful. Rubbish. You shouldn't sign him. His
attitude is poor. He doesn't.
He'd come in and he'll disrupt your entire dressing room. Yeah. You just need to stay away from him and force him into a deal with Sheffield Wednesday. That's the situation. Yeah. But I feel like this is going to happen. What do you feel?
It feels like it's deja vu that we're going to have the situation where we have another good youth team player just go, and we just very blind to not put a contract in their face and go sign this now, and then you can get us some money. And this is the thing. We're not a club that knows how to profit on players. We went on,
and that's Chansiri. That is, I don't blame that much. That is on Chansiri. And also the fact that he says that nobody was talking about these players last year. Urhoghide, we were. When we saw Urhoghide, we were talking about him. That should have been done better, because we saw the potential in him, and he's only got better this season. Sure, I understand. Nobody really knew who he was.
We wanted to put a contract in front of Urhoghide, apparently, and Monk got told no. That's hearsay. I don't know how much of that is true. What I've heard is we tried to put a contract in front of him when Monk was here, and he got told no. So I don't know. Kind of thing.
Out of all those players that could leave. He's the one I don't want to leave, but he's the one that is going to... Because you've got to remember, though, the players that we want to keep are the ones that other teams will be like, oh, we can get them on a free, you know?
Before we go on to... Because I think it's community topics next, isn't it? Before we go on to community topics, Sheffield Wednesday have just tweeted, Darren Moore, we explained to Barry and he understands we were apologetic. He has a massive role for us between now and the end of the season. That is what Darren Moore has said on taking Barry Bannon off.
Oh, right. Okay. So we were talking about that a little bit earlier on. That shouldn't be too much of a drama there. It's a case of it'd be interesting to see what it says. Obviously, we're probably going to talk about the aftermath of that a lot because we've not got any matches to talk about next week. No. So we're going to be talking about probably the goings on at the club and getting a lot more community topics involved and things like that.
Oh, I just read one of the community posts and mine and your thing are the same.
Stop jumping ahead, pug. Control. This is the thing. He said to me, I like to learn about podcasts. I like to learn how to do it. And then he reads the document when I give him a document and jumps ahead. Chill out. Yeah. We are now going to go on to community topics. Keep the flow going.
Sorry.
I'm just thinking I might sack one of these off and use... because we've taken some really good ones, but I'm worried that we won't get these really good ones next week when we need more community topics.
I think it might be worth splitting them into two.
I'm gonna sack one of them off because one of them was going to be an exercise that would have taken us about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. So look for that next week. It's going to be a really cool one, okay? And we're going to start this week with... These were, I think, one was from Twitter, most of them from YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe. The community tab is the way to do it. This is from Callum David George Breeze.
Is that his full name?
That's what he's put.
Jeez.
That's his username.
I actually thought that were two separate people.
No. So here's a provocative one. Is getting relegated to League One perhaps the best outcome for Wednesday in terms of rebuilding the squad and changing the whole culture around it? Now, we've talked about a bit about this today in terms of a rebuild, but let's actually have a look at the actual pros of it and the cons of it, because it's yes, in a way, it will be good to be able to change some players around, but the financial aspects for me are a big thing. What do you think about it?
I think a rebuild is needed. It's been needed for the last 2 seasons, pretty much, I say, where we needed to get rid of some of the dead wood. And a rebuild would be great. Get some players in. If we go down to League One, we are going to be looking at maybe League Two, maybe doing a... is it Pompey? No, not Pompey. Peterborough, and looking into conference of players who we think could do something. That style thing.
Don't go that far.
No, they do, though. They pick players out the conference and they make them good.
Well, no, here's the thing. It depends on the year. For me, right? For me, it's the year's plan for me. It's if we're planning a bounce back up, we don't go that low for me, Jake.
I still think we got to go that low to look for the future and have them ready to come. That's where I'm going. I'm not going as that's what we rely on it
for the academy, maybe, yeah. But
if we're going on a bounce back, the issue you're going to have, we're a big Sheffield Wednesday football club. But some of the players that we might have on our list are not going to come to Sheffield Wednesday because we're at League One.
They will at League One. The thing is, though, the one thing I find is, yes, you're not going to bring Championship talent, but if you will get. If a player is performing in League One somewhere and it's a League One move and they don't go to the Championship and we offer them money there, the one benefit for us is the draw of Sheffield Wednesday will be a little bit more in League One. Yeah. And the loan players we're going to attract like...
The loan market is a huge one. That's where Moore really did well at Rovers. Premiership managers trust more with young talent. On that sense, we could. If we're going to go back straight away, we need to be very smart with who we bring in, and we have to be ruthless.
Yeah.
And that's something we haven't been. Downside is, financially, it's a massive loss in TV money. Yeah,
it's not as big as the Prem, but it's around 8 million, I think. It's a lot of turnover.
We still will possibly be one of the first teams mentioned for a TV game, kind of thing, if it pops up.
The thing is,
so like a Sunderland, Sheffield Wednesday, we could be the first.
If you're an armchair fan, good luck not seeing Wednesday because we're never on Sky when we're in League One.
No.
So that's the fun side.
The big issue is how we rebuild it and what money is Chansiri going to throw at it. Is he going to throw him a lot of money or tell him to do more with less? Mind the pun. But you know what I mean? It depends what Chansiri wants to do in terms of how he funds it. He had backed both managers and backed them well. Moore obviously knows how to work with a small budget. He didn't have a huge budget at Rovers, so that's an advantage. It got to be the right player, but it got to be bounced straight back.
No, yeah, I think that's the plan he's set in place. I think he's gone. There's a very high chance we're going to get relegated. Let's build the club back up. I actually think, in terms of players, yes, because here's the thing, right? If you get relegated, and this is the weird thing. This is kind of from a Chansiri perspective. And I hate this, but it might be more beneficial for us to get relegated because if you get relegated, you can blame not signing those players on contracts on the fact we got relegated and they didn't want to sign. So you do that, and then you have a full rebuild. But you've got to remember, like, we've still got. I think Barry Bannon and that. You can build around him a little bit more, but don't just run the whole game through Barry Bannon anymore. I think the great thing about Bannon's contract is a case of next season, unless we sell him off, right, he can start going into the shadows a little bit more as he gets towards the end of his career, and we can try and bring through younger players. And that League One gives you a hit at really trying out youth.
I'll tell you what Barry Bannon's situation reminds me of. It reminds me of the Liverpool Gerrard situation, kind of thing, where everything would go through him. And it was always he was the one that would get it all sorted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they didn't win a Premier League title until they became a team.
Yeah. So
even though I really respect Steven Gerrard, obviously, and stuff. But yeah, if you think about it, when it didn't Liverpool when they won their first Premier League title, they weren't one man, they were a team. Some people say it was solid, but it wasn't. They were a team
together.
Scoring loads of goals.
And that goes back to what Monk said. More. Jesus Christ. What Moore said in his press conference.
Yeah, no, I think, honestly, it's too early to tell because we need to really judge the aspects of contracts and things like that.
That will be possibly a good one to have back as a community topic, maybe 2 or 3 games in after we've seen a transfer window, if we go down to League One, just to see what we bring in.
Yeah, and also we're probably going to do a massive relegation episode where we just drown our sorrows. So yeah, thank you for that, Callum. Appreciate that. The next one is from Phil Starr, YouTube sub. Is Wildsmith trying too hard to look like David Seaman?
He does look a bit like Seaman. I've got to admit, he does look like David Seaman.
I've got long hair, but but like I think he is channeling David Seaman a little bit there. We did ask you to make us laugh, and a few of you tried to. That one made me chuckle.
Yeah,
well done, Phil. Yeah, I think he's definitely going for it. The ponytail and
isn't he called by
Westwood? He just needs the 70s
dash.
Yeah, the dash.
Isn't he called by Westwood Gorgeous George? I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that Westwood calls him Gorgeous George because the ponytail
sounds predatory. There's something going. Whoa! That's not how experienced keepers should be behaved. No, no. Yeah, I think I have heard similar rumors, but yes, he is. But no. All joking aside.
Thank you for that. That made us smile.
Thank you for making us chuckle. I do. To be fair though, like Joe, if you're watching this for whatever reason, I've got long hair too, mate. I get it all the time.
We get it.
Okay, this is actually going to be a topic in itself, and quite like when we talked about Lampard and stuff, this is a speculative topic. Tin hats, pitchforks, down, right? Okay, we were asked this by S. Billard, YouTube sub. Should Sheffield Wednesday approach someone like Fraser Forster, who isn't getting game time at his Prem club? Now, this is a very difficult one because if Wednesday get relegated, that's going to be a difficult sell. However, if we had sort of had a clear blank checkbook next season with the financial fair play things going, we are at the time now where we need to put our money where our mouth is with a keeper. And someone like Fraser Forster, I think he's 32-ish.
He's good keeper. Well,
this season at Southampton, he's got 2 appearances, and that's because Alex McCarthy for the current world crisis. Couldn't play a couple of matches. He's not been able to get past Alex McCarthy, right? He probably still sees himself as a number one at a top-end club, but it is in the realm of possibility if Wednesday stayed up. League One, let's scrap that one off, but mathematically it's still possible for Wednesday to stay up, even though it's not looking likely. So I think this is a good one to talk about. He's going into the last year of his contract. It expires in 2022. So that's why I'm like, his value's probably around 5 million looking at it all. You could potentially get him for 3 or 4 with the last year, but you're still going to pay for his quality. We've been asked a lot about if Westwood's injury record carries on, do we need to sack off the whole keeper position and we need a new Westwood? Could Fraser Forster for you be that? Because remember, we picked him up. Fraser Forster for me is a little bit higher on the run than Westwood was for me. I think he could still reach a little bit higher than Wednesday you're currently sitting, but a blank slate in the Championship might be a different aspect to be on number one and be that new Westwood. What do you think?
Well, yes, it's a strong possibility. He was meant to go to Celtic in 2020 and it was all set for, and he turned it down. He did a U-turn to go back to Southampton. Now, he would be a very good keeper to get in, and I actually can't remember the last time we paid money for a keeper. Because I think all our keepers of late have been free transfers.
The reason we're by the way, this is also a topic. Expand this, not just Fraser Forster. This is he's just a great one for the kind of mould of keeper. Yeah, exactly. Keepers that aren't getting prem time that could go and take this. If you're a Championship club watching this and you're actually higher up in Wednesday's standings and you actually stay up, if we get onto League One, this ain't happening. So, but if you guys stay up, this could be another one for you. I think Fraser Forster is destined for a number one spot in a Championship club.
Yeah. He's a good keeper, and I think Championship he'd do really well. When he was up in Scotland, he did very well. And at one point, I think he was knocking on the England door, but then...
he was part of the England squad.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's actually got a couple of caps. So he's definitely for me someone who's probably... If his time's up at Southampton, you could potentially see him go into one of the bottom 3. I mean, there's another Sheffield club that are getting relegated that could be after him if their keeper. But then again, their keeper, they've spent a lot of money on him, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. But I think he could definitely find himself in the Championship. I don't think it's going to be with Sheffield Wednesday.
The thing with this one is we need 2 keepers to come in the rebuild.
I think you could get it.
One to get some more minutes in Championship kind of thing, because whoever stays for League One, it's going to be between Wildsmith and Dawson, isn't it? If we don't if we don't keep Westwood.
I actually think the best play for Wednesday is keep Westwood and look for another young keeper to come through now, because clearly Wildsmith and Dawson have been trial by fire in the Championship and it's not been working. There's something's drastically wrong there. So I put Fraser Forster because even if it was just a loan with maybe a loan deal to buy if we stayed up in the Championship, I quite like that. I don't know why I put it. S. Billard. I put this in the topic because I thought it was a good one to raise. So thank you very much. Keep those coming, that sort of thing, because it's great to speculate. Yeah. And Southampton fans, if you found this, where do you think Fraser Forster sits at? I know you've got some of you rate him, but he's obviously been on loan. Where do you think he should be?
Isn't Alex McCarthy the Reading keeper?
Yes, I think. Or is it? Was it Huddersfield? No, that was Smith's. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. So, the next community topic we are skipping, and we're going to do it next week. But it's one from another Phil, and we will do it next week. It's a really good one
today.
So yeah, that leaves it for the community topics. But we are going to go on to the upcoming matches. Now, when this podcast goes out, sack off. We're not going to talk about the Huddersfield match. We'll talk about that next podcast because obviously there's a week's gap. We're going to talk about Norwich. Now, going into Saturday, they had 6 wins in a row. After Saturday, they've got 7.
Yeah.
And Wednesday, you're in awful form. We've lost our last 2 Saturday fixtures. I know it's a Sunday fixture, but we've lost our last 2 weekend fixtures 3-0. And we're playing a team that are coming off the back of 7 wins.
And they just won 3-0 today.
So you know what's going to happen? Wednesday are going to get a 1-0 scrappy win. It's just, it's written in the stars. No,
I really hope so. But
this could be a sign of you are League One destined, right?
Yeah,
if we haven't thought it enough, this could be it.
I think if we lose this, we are. I think if we lose this, we're down. I can't see it. I thought that a little bit more today, and I got to say, until we're mathematically down, I don't want to say it, but with how we're playing, there just isn't that feeling, is there?
No. I'm like, as I said, I've started to feel numb to it now. I feel a massive disconnect.
What? Norwich
I never really usually feel that for Wednesday.
Let's be fair, Norwich are up champions. They've got 76 points with Watford on 66.
The only thing is, I hope they take the foot off the gas a bit and give us a chance. You know?
Yeah.
Please?
Well, the game we played against them when we had Pulis, it wasn't a bad game.
No.
We looked okay. But that was also, after that, it came out we hadn't paid players as well, didn't it? So it'll be an interesting one. I can't see us getting out of it now.
Do you remember? You could technically see a Norwich match was also a sign of our down fortune as Wednesday Football Club because Forestieri refused to play against Norwich back then. And was it Norwich?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it was Norwich. If you refused to play, I think it was. Was it a Norwich fixture? If I'm getting that wrong, please let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure.
I can't remember. It might have been. I think
you're
right.
For a Norwich fixture because he wanted to move, and then that was where players starting to rule the club came in.
Was that when he wanted the Newcastle move?
I think so. It was when. So basically, that was the sign of what Sheffield Wednesday starting to lose their footing, and it's been shaky ever since.
The annoying thing about this is you look at Hull and Donny could come up. We could go down possibly with Rotherham. They're not out of it.
Clubs
but wait. But Barnsley could go up, and it could be Barnsley, Leeds, and Sheffield United at Leeds. There won't be a Yorkshire derby as such, apart from like Huddersfield.
Hang on, did you just say Sheffield United in the Prem? Sheffield United are not staying in the Premier League.
I know they're not. I know they're not staying in the Prem. I'm being nice for a change. I don't know why.
No, I'm not having it. We're not bigging them up. But no, it's a case of I could definitely see Donny coming up. I didn't even look. I don't even see Hull as a rivalry, right?
I don't either. But he get put down as a rival.
Everything's a derby at the minute for me. I think Leeds is quite a big match, right? And I like that because I've got a lot of Leeds fan mates, and that's always a good bit of banter. Sheffield United is the only real derby for us. So, for me, doesn't matter what goes on around it. But that is where we are going to leave this week's podcast. I hope you're all doing well. And please do leave us lots of community topics for next week. Even if you just want to know...
really well this week, actually. Some of the ones we've seen were really good.
Even if you just want to know what's our favourite flavour of milkshake, we will pad that effort. No, there's plenty to talk about, to be fair, and there's a lot of good football-related topics. And this week for Wednesday, I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot to talk about on the more updates and the contact and things like that, the Bannon situation. So I'm looking forward to that. Anything last to say?
Just the usual. Remember football. It is what it is. Just try and not make it your be-all and end-all.
Do you know what? That's not your usual, and I appreciate it, because for 8 episodes you've said the same thing until now. So for that, it wasn't as usual.
No, it wasn't, actually.
Football is not the be-all and end-all, and it sometimes feels like it, and yes, it very much is on that match day when you are in it, but try and find the other things, and until then, we will see you next Sunday, 12 o'clock.
See you later.
Take care.